What's up? If you like board games, miniatures, and the smell of paint and glue, you are in the right place. Welcome to Boardgasm. Hey, welcome to Boardgasm, episode 13. Oh my god. Let's have a party on a Monday. Come on in, folks. Happy Monday. Cheers. What's up? All right. Oh, I'm excited tonight. You got to tell me if you can hear me, see me, make sure I'm good. I'm going to be multitasking tonight. I don't have a moderator. Sometimes when I do these shows, I have a moderator. I'm on my own tonight, so I'm going to need some of your help. I see we got a lot of the regulars in. We got a lot of new people in. Yep, and we got the Goblinko crew are in here. Let's go, Goblinko and Sean Auberg and crew. Let's have fun tonight. Let's celebrate your awesome game. Come on in. All right, let's see here. Thank you, Germ. If I know you from another name, say hi. Say, hey, what's up? If I don't know you, introduce yourself. We have a lot of people in here. This is a chat show. If you're watching the rerun of this, read the chats. It's very chatty and good. I have so much to talk about tonight. So grab a drink, sit back, relax. All right. Okay, I'm going to be jumping back and forth. Oh, by the way, I am going to be giving away some prizes tonight. So if you stick around, in a few moments today, I'm going to do the bit where I say, hey, write down a certain number. Hey, Bill Yon, what's up, buddy? Write down a number, and then I roll a dice, and then just count down, and those people win. Hey, Necro Mick here. What's up? What's up? Oh, we got good ones here. Yeah, this is going to be great. So, check it out. Before I begin, my name is Cardone. This is Boardgasm. Normally on Mondays, I do evening hour. Sometimes I do Boardgasm. Sometimes I do a magic moment show. I teach magic tricks online here sometimes. And sometimes it is a Behind the Devil's Curtain. I haven't done one of those in a while. Boardgasm, this is episode 13. And I think this is my third or maybe fourth episode on this crazy game, and the reason is it's my favorite board game. So before we jump into the subject, quick game news right away. Wizards of the Coast, all that junk, they're leaving the open game license alone, which we all knew that was probably going to happen. But they also lost a lot of numbers. So congratulations to all the independent game companies that picked up a few disgruntled Hasbro Wizards of the Coast / whatnots. I mean, honestly, yeah, tonight's a very lucky number. So, yes, congratulations to Goodman Games, the people that make Dungeon Crawl Classics. From what I hear, they got a big uptick in sales. And tonight, I think this is going to all push into what this is today, which is Dungeon Degenerates, this game that I always am yapping about, is in its 5th printing, which is mind-blowing because you can't go to the game store and buy this game. It's under what we say In the old days, it's underground, right? It's not that underground because I've done 4 episodes on this show. So what else before I get straight in? Oh yeah, so right now, if you go to Kickstarter, this game's on there. I'm going to say right now, I don't work for these guys. I made friends with Sean online, and over the years, I'm a fan of the game. I like painting miniatures, and I like really cool board games, and so that's what happened. So, it's like an enemy drinking poison on purpose. This is great. All right. So, if you go now to Kickstarter, it's up there. It's the only time you can get it on sale, first of all, the 5th printing. And then they have a whole bunch of other stuff, which we'll talk about today. But I wanted to get into... let's do it. Let's start. Welcome, episode 13. Today, I had a few different titles of this episode because it doesn't look as good on the main one, but it looks like this one. I called it The Worst Reich's Guide to Debauchery, and for good reason, because the Worst Reich is the area in which this game takes place in, and debauchery, well, in this game, you play, as a player, someone just getting out of jail. And there's a few different ways to get out of jail, which we'll get into. Okay. So that's what's going on today. And I really want this to be questions. If you ask a question, yeah, get your pledge in tonight. Here's a link. There's a link. There's a link below too. Folks, there's a link to their main page below. And hopefully you can post that link, Goblinko. Oh, it wouldn't? I don't know if you can post links in here yet. I don't have it set up for that. We'll go over that. There is a link below to Goblinko, and then you can go straight to there. So, yeah. Oh, I love that the chat's good. Ask questions tonight about the game. I'll do my best. I'm going to be multitasking here. And there's a few times where I have to switch back and do some set changes here with the set, because this is where I'm going to be showing a lot of the stuff. Yes, Sean, what's up? I'm just going to call you Sean from now. I was calling you Goblinko there. Okay, so what is this? What the heck is all this? What is this game? Why am I obsessing over a board game? Well, without having a rehearsed answer, just off the top of my head, this is a close as you're going to get, in my opinion, to a role-playing game experience that is in a box and comes in a board game that you can play with your friends, but you can also play it alone, okay? To me, that's... Yeah, look, the guy who made the game, who's in here... Oh, for the folks, literally, the creator, the mastermind, the creative guy behind this whole thing is in the chat now as Goblinko, so welcome, Sean. Yeah, there's minis. We'll talk about that. Okay. So this game is the closest thing you're going to get to a role-playing game experience, but you play a fantasy. It's fantasy. It's a very special kind of fantasy. It's Sean Alberg's take on the fantasy world, which I fell in love with in 2 seconds. It's got the Dungeons and Dragons thing, but then add in old school, a little bit old school of Warhammer, and then throw in a bunch of punk rock aesthetics with some other things. A little bit of nihilism, a little bit of chaos. Yeah, it's a cool game. And the reason why I obsess over here, I wrote this down. Here's what this game is. It's super narrative, meaning while you're playing it, stories unfold that were never there. They're just because of how it's coming together. There's no grid on the board. Okay? Look. There's no grid. It's not like you're moving a pawn around on a grid. And I like that. And there's a reason why I like that. The game progressively gets harder on its own, right? It's got some really simple stuff, yet it's extremely complex. Complex. It's like the game, the turns are very simple, but in those turns you can do a lot, which makes this game amazing because it's an open sandbox. So you can kind of do whatever you want. You don't have to follow a path. The game is campaign-based or not, meaning you can play one night and get out, and that's it. Or you can play a game and then play another game linked to that game, and so on, so that it tells a long story. And I did that with this game right here for about 4 years. No joke. And then I killed that world. I said, okay, that's it. Waited a little bit, and I started it again, and I'm doing it right now for the second long-term time. Oh yeah, I wrote down the fluff. The background fluff is outstanding. It comes with cardboard miniatures, which I actually like, but I personally love that they made metal miniatures for the people like me who like to paint metal miniatures, which have nothing to do with the gameplay at all. Okay? Just get that straight. But they did it anyways, and I like that a lot. It's filled with Easter eggs. I won't spoil too much, I promise. On the pant skills, would you mind giving any secrets on the pant? What's a pant skill? Oh, picking the skills in this game? Is that what you mean? Make that question a little more detailed. It comes with sausages. I love it. Oh, secret to painting. I will do an episode on that one day when I figure out how to light it and set it up. I've been painting for a long time. I have my own way of doing it. I ain't no expert, but my miniatures look okay on the tabletop. That's all I wanted to do. That was my goal. I wanted them to look decent on the tabletop. But yes, I will do that one day. I do want to teach my method. I have a very simple method of painting. Oh, the miniatures were sculpted by J.C. Faircloud. I was going to mention that a few times. But, okay, so that's this crazy game, okay? I found it by fluke. I knew who Sean was through Pork Magazine, but I didn't pay attention to his details yet. Then I discovered the game, and I've said this before. I kickstarted the very first printing of this game. I thought the art was good, and I was guessing the game. Oh, I didn't see this. I love this. All right, read the chat, everybody. Sean's in here giving some secrets. I thought the game was going to suck. I'm going to be honest. I watched a little bit of a playthrough, and they had a playthrough video, and I was like, all right, it looks cool, but maybe not my thing. But I was like excited to see the art and the cards and just look at it as a work of art. I collect games. Well, guess what? The game is outstanding. So, I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, it's a good game with good art. So, that's what this game is. That's how I found it. And today, what this is, this whole thing, I'm going to teach some of the basic mechanics, which I've never done on any video. I've mentioned them, but I didn't actually explain them. I keep scratching my ear, pardon me. I also want to give you some tips. If you're a veteran player and you've played a million games, I want you to... Thank you, Ruth, very much. Yeah, please hit the like and subscribe. You know what? This is a donation show, too. Hey, donate. Great. $1, $5, $20. But liking the video, subscribing, totally cool. Please, thank you. So I'm going to teach you today, like, kind of how to basically get through this so that you understand the framework of the game. I like watching video tutorials before I buy a game and after I learn it to make sure I don't miss any rules. This game... Oh, yeah, here. Billion's giving some stuff on painting in here. This game, what was I talking about? Tips on how to play this? I had some train I was going down. But at any rate, I'm going to teach you how to play this game. Okay? As best I can. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I like watching tutorials because the rule books... Here, where's... The rule book to this game, it's not crazy thick, but it's pretty thick. And it's got small writing, and it is detailed. And so you will miss some rules. Yes, you will. You will not get them all right away. And I'll say this straight up. This game is not easy at all. But it's worth learning. Because once you learn how to play it, you really feel kind of free. You really feel like there's a million possibilities. And this is probably the most important part. And Sean, you need to hear this. And I don't know if you've heard this before. But the thing I like about this game, and very few games are able to accomplish this, things will happen that you know for a fact will never, ever happen again. Combinations of things will line up for a really kind of an amazing thing to happen that will never happen. As it's happening, you're like, wow, we drew this card, rolled this number, and then beat the monsters in this condition, wow. And it'll make a memory, you know? Yes. Now, for anybody that's really into this game, yes, still smaller than the GW rulebook. True. The card count in the game. Yeah. Oh, I love reading this. Okay. Lifetime commitment. Yeah. So, I'm going to go through this. I've broken it up into sections. And I'm going to be doing a giveaway at some point. Let's see. I don't want to forget that. And I'm going to be giving away some little Goblinko Dungeon Degenerate swag, which is cool. They have the greatest merch. Go check out his merch. Sean, are you going to make those... how you should carry those cat things again. The alley gougers. I think I ordered off of you a lot. I was giving them away as presents. Oh, wow. What's this? I pick one card choice on exploration card rather than read the whole card. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, I try not to read things I'm not supposed to read in this game, for sure. So first, okay, this board right here, I'm going to bring this down now. This is the main board, and I'm not going to go into this just yet. This is the world in which you're going to be traveling in. Well, here, I'll just give you a quick overview. This is the lowlands, the wetlands, the badlands, and the highlands. And they have colors to coordinate them. And then in the middle here, you have the Witchwood, which is part of this, the lowlands. And the lowlands are like the civilized world with the big old city called Brutalburg. And that's where the stories all take place. They start here, and then they go out. Ah, see, here you go. Mark's telling you. It's a tough game to learn. Yeah, but it's worth it. Oh, you sold them a while. You should bring them back, bro. They're really cool. They're the ultimate Valentine's Day gift. All right, so I'm going to move. You know what? I don't have to move this. I can lay these down. Now, there are... Well, let's do this first. Let me explain something. There are a bunch of characters in this game. And yes, they're fantasy characters. There's warriors and fighters. And I'm going to be straight up, if you have little kids watching. There are drugs in this game. Literally, a lot. There's the witch weeds. How many different kinds of weed are there in the game? 3? There's also mushrooms. There's also pills. And then there's void powder, which is kind of like a heroin-y, cocaine-y thing that you can snort to take you to the void. But it is bad for you in the game. Let's not get that. Let's get it straight. I mean, it's not like a healthy thing to do in the game. So the characters are, to me, what really make this fun. I haven't played all of them, but I have played a bunch. I'm just going to show you now. This is the size of the character cards. And I'm going to put them down here because I believe you can see them way better. I'm going to do this. Hold on. I have a system here. It's so funny. I've been doing these shows solo for so long. So here we go. All right, let's start here with a classic character. Hold on. I'm going to show you some of my favorites. Wow. Okay, look at this guy here. This is a mercenary alchemist, aka drug dealer. And I'm just going to show you using him first, using my pointer, the stats. You got agility, constitution, magic, morale, perception, and strength. Those are the stats in the game. This is this little tiny chart, and on this little chart here, you keep track of... I love it. You keep track of certain things in the game. For instance, your health. How many wounds do you have? That's this one. And it moves up. Now, you're using the same track in this game for each one of these. Some people complained about it when it came out. I think they're stupid. Who cares? It's a non-issue. And if you don't like this, you can do it another way. It's just to keep track. It's easy. It's right here. And it's little. This is luck. This is experience. This is gold. So this guy here, when you get him as your character, the mercenary alchemist, whom you will name, he starts with 4 luck, 6 experience, 8 gold, right? Here's the Banished Sorcerer, one of my favorite characters, and his race is he's like a reptilian. He's a weirdo. I had a guy that I played for years. He was my main character, this guy. His name was Glebe Tongteet, and he was a very powerful wizard. This guy, okay, so, I forgot to mention, every single one of these characters was arrested for something and in jail in the story, and you're starting with them getting out. This guy was a serial killer. Look at him. How fun is that guy to play? This is Alley Cat. It's a little girl character. And she is got the power of lycanthropy. Yeah, she's cool. Oh, how about this? A hermit aesthetic? What? A guru of gurus? I mean, come on. I'm playing this character right now. The Fishy Confectioner. And she, I think she was arrested for, like, sanitation stuff. Sanitation officers. My character I'm playing now, her name's Glorpacha Ding. And Glorpacha, has, yeah. Look at this guy here. The Fugitive Fop. This was a newer character that they put out, which is a blast to play. He comes with a raccoon. How can you not want to play these characters? Mine's named Pharaoh Fawcett. You could always be a naughty naturalist. You could be the Angel of Death and bring along the infamous Butcher. And here's a good one. This is basically like a pit fighter, pro wrestler. This is a pit fighter, the Wastelander. And so here you go. Again, agility, constitution, magic, morale, perception, and strength. All right, so let's use this one here as an example. So as far as you can see, it's pretty simple. I mean, they have a stat line, and then they have a place to keep track of some stuff. That's it. They have a character class, like, for instance, the Wastelander, her character. Oh, I love that. Half the characters are men and half the characters are women, which is rare in a fantasy game. Sean, came up with some clever ways to introduce new types of character classes for a fantasy game, which I like. I love it. Here you go. Sean just said most of these are based on people he knows. I have something to ask you later. Now that you say that, I'm like, wow. That's why this game's fascinating. There's some Easter eggs that I didn't notice right away. So, this Wastelander character, whenever you're rolling to do something on here, okay, let's say you're doing some, focus, there we go. Let's say you're doing something where you need a strength roll. Her strength is 9, which is very high in this game. How the game works, and I'll just give you a very simple mechanic before we get into the real mechanic. You roll 2 dice, and you have to roll it or below. Very common in a lot of games. It or below. So if you have an agility of 7, and you need to do an agility roll to see if you're agile enough, you'd have to roll a 7 or below on 2 6-sided dice. This game uses 6-sided dice. There's a color combination, but it's just plain 6-sided dice. So those are the characters. So this is interesting. The characters come with some skills, which are cards. Bill Yon says, so when it comes out, the Twisted Magician character will be based on Cardone. Yeah, maybe. I love it. Thank you, Bill. Goblinko Sean. Bill Yon, who's just commented. I met him in middle school, and we were at the Dungeons and Dragons table the whole time. The punk rock Dungeons and Dragons table was me and that guy. Yeah. If we would have went to school with you, Sean, you would have been sitting at our lunch table too. We would all been. Choosing skills later. Yeah, so in the game, you will be able to choose more skills depending on your character class and certain things. Choosing skills in this game is really fun. It's part of the game. I always tell people, like, most of this game for me isn't taking turns. It's figuring out what I'm going to do in a turn or figuring out what skills I'm going to do, which is why this game is like a role-playing game for me. The non-playing parts, to me, are just as entertaining. Whenever I have my friends here and we're playing, we love looking at the skills and trying to puzzle it together and what's best for each character. So the other thing about choosing the characters, and I'm going to mention it later, this is a pro tip. This is me that I've played hundreds of games of this. I've put hundreds and hundreds of hours in this game. Each character has a special way they generate luck. And some of them are not good at it. The Wastelander, for instance. It's okay. It's okay. And I'll explain why. You might not play her as much, but there's a reason, and I think it's great. So when I'm picking characters, I don't really care how long they're going to live, if they're going to run out of luck, and that's it. I don't know. But what I do know... Oh, my ear again. Why is my ear itchy? My ear right here is like... I feel like I put an earplug in it. Ooh. Oh, here, Billion has a project. Ooh, all right. I want to know about this. Yeah, the luck thing is important, but I have a little bit of a tip on that later. So when you're picking characters, don't mind it. The basic set has really good characters. There are more that you can get later, and Sean just announced he's releasing with the new Kickstarter. I think it's 8. Yeah, it's 8 new ones. Or is it 6 new ones? It's 8, I believe. This new character dump of all the new ones might be my favorite one so far. I mean, my jaw hit the floor. I'll tell you why a little later. So, let's now leave the characters for just a second, okay? And I want to explain now the monsters. I'm going to show you what... 8, okay, cool. I'm going to show you the monsters, what they look like, and what the cards look like, how they appear in the game, so that you know how their stats work. So we have the characters, then the monsters, then I'm going to show you the basic dice mechanic of the game, which at first looks like a headache, but after you learn it, it's damn genius. Because in one swoop, a whole bunch of things happen. It's actually very fun. And then we'll get into the map and some other things. And I want to keep this moving because this is a lot. There's so much ground to cover. So let me get this. I'm going to move this. And I'm going to put this. I'm doing a whole bunch of juggling here of props. Because I'm going to show you what these characters look like. So each land in the game has a deck of cards. And there's only 4 lands. You know, there's 4 areas. One is for monsters, and one is for things that are happening, events and stuff. It's very simple. So if you're in the blue area, the lowlands, they have their own monsters. And they have their own events. And if you're in the wetlands, the green area, they have their own stuff. And so here you go. Here is, let's move this up so you can see. Hold on, I'm going to lower this. There we go. That is, and I'm going to use my pointer now. That is the Night Witch and a Corpse Golem. But where the heck is my damn pointer? Oh, here. And both of these guys here, I've fought both of them a lot. And it's a little hard to see here because it's small. But if you look at the top, right there, there is a little 2 and a little 2. If you kill the Night Witch, you get 2 experience and 2 gold. And notice this guy here, he has 1 too, right? Boop, there. And if you look at the bottom of these, they have here how much damage they do. Over here's how much armor they have. And down there is how many wounds they have. The little heart. That's it. That's their numbers. It's the most basic thing. And then at the bottom, there's these little banners. The top one are arrival abilities. The bottom ones are regular. Arrival abilities are when they show up immediately at the fight. And below it is what happens when they're in the fight, which makes them unique. Now, I know he's got a flower. It's beautiful. Well, anybody know what that's a reference to? Another Easter egg. It's a corpse golem, a.k.a. what? And why does he have a flower? That's a good trivia question. Over here, the Night Witch has the power of curse and summon. And he is dim-wit and endless. Now, here's the crazy part. Let's say in the game, your character is showing up to this village or whatever, and you draw those two monsters. They randomly show up together, which could happen easily. The first thing you do is each monster says, look at this, right here, there's a tiny little thing right above the light blue number, and that tells you who they attack. It tells you, like this guy here, what is lowest morale? So this one here is the lowest morale. Does he throw the witch in the pond? Bob Murphy gets the joke. Yes. So that is a reference to Frankenstein, the flower, for sure. And flesh golems are Frankensteins, usually. These cards tell you who they show up and attack. So when the wizard shows up, a lot of them attack the other wizard right away, the highest magic person, highest morale, and then this character here, lowest magic, corpse golem. So after you figure out who they're attacking, right, everything happens at once. Now, here's the crazy part. The first thing you got to do is see if they do anything at their arrival. Sometimes they'll scare everybody with some sort of ability that you'll have to deal with immediately. Now, the thing that's crazy about this combo that just showed up, like if this happened in real life, first of all, the Night Witch would try to curse people, which takes away their luck, which is not good in this game. This one here. She is if you look at this one here, the Night Witch, she's a human cult heretic witch. This guy here is a construct undead. If there are any constructs around that have endless, which he does, oops, there it is, endless, guess what? Because she's a witch, she summoned him, he can't die until you kill the witch. Yeah. Which is which is a cool combo in this game. If that happens, and it happens a lot. So that's how the monsters work. They show up, they fight, you figure out who they fight, you look and you go, all right, this guy does 4 damage if he hits you, this guy does 3 or whatever. He's got no armor, and he's got whatever, 10 points of damage. That's it. It's so simple, right? Okay. Let's now talk. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything on those monster cards. Yeah, that's it. It's very simple. I don't need to dwell on those long. Now, here's what I want to talk about. The dice. And by doing that, I'm actually going to put out the dice. Now, I'm going to be honest. I'm a dice freak. I collect dice. And the game, oh, here we go, came out with cool dice. They're little, and I use them a lot. But I upgraded and got some bigger ones for some certain things. Here we go. I'm going to move the camera to here. Yay, here we go. And I am going to, if you Kickstarter, I guess they're going to have dice bags. When you get the game, it comes with these kind of dice. These, and this. This is the basic dice set that you need to make this thing fly. Right here. Occasionally, you will need another purple, but usually that's the setup. And that's it. Now, here we go. Are we ready? Sit back, have a drink, and try to follow along. I'm going to explain how in one roll you can take 5 dice, throw it down, and figure out if you hit them, if they hit you, how much damage was done, the whole thing, all in one swoop. Okay? All right, let me do... Okay, let me put this here. Ha! Frankenstein. Yes! Okay. So when you are in combat in this game, right? Like, okay, the Wastelander is going to fight the Flesh Golem, which would be a cool... The Pit Fighter sees the Witch, sees the Flesh Golem. Of course, the Pit Fighter is going to go after the Flesh Golem, and the wizards are going to start trying to take out the other wizard, the Witch. And she's going to attack, right? It's actually more of a whole thing happening at once. So the first thing that you need to figure out is if you are in assault or defense. It's the first thing you do. Are you in assault or are you in defense? Right? A lot of the times I'm in defense, I'll be honest. But the reason why this game is cool is sometimes it forces you to pick assault because certain weapons, you have to be in assault mode for them to work. Certain spells, you need to be in assault mode. So that assault mode and that guard mode really do mean something depending on the gear you're using. And this is where the game becomes incredibly complex. But for now, no worry. Watch this. So when you roll these dice, I'm going to break it now up into sections. These are for your defense. This is your defense. This is what's going on when the monster attacks you. This is your offense, the red ones. This tells you if you're able to hit him. How good are you at hitting the target? And this little power dice gets applied either to this, if you're in guard mode, or I mean this if you're in guard mode, and this if you're in assault mode. That's it. That's how that works. All right, so remember I told you you have to roll below your score, right? So here's how it works. In the game, the agility roll usually is your defense skill. So for instance, the Wastelander's agility is 7. So for the Wastelander to avoid the attack successfully, she has to get a 7 or below. And that's an agility roll most of the time. There might be situations where it's not. It might be a magic roll because it's a spell that's getting you out of the way. Depends. Most of the time it's physical agility. And for fighting, for the red dice, if you're using a sword, it's usually the strength. If you're using a bow and arrow, it's also an agility. So if you're using a bow and arrow or a throwing dagger or anything like that, your agility roll is applied to the green dice, your agility score, and the agility score would also apply to the red dice because you're using that to attack with. If you're a wizard, your attack dice, your red dice might be applied to the magic. It's very logical, nothing hard to remember. So when you roll all 6 dice, you're looking to see if the green went below your agility and your red went below your strength. And then the purple dice gets applied. So for instance, the Wastelander has a 7 agility on a strength of 9. And I'm going to make that power dice go to assault because she's pretty good at assaulting. So, just like this, boom. What did I get? I got a 5 and a 3. That's above my agility. And I got... Where's the other red? 2 and 2, 4. So this were... Okay. And then this would go here. So, I actually didn't roll below my agility. That means the monster got through. And I did roll below my strength, but I rolled only a 4. So now, that means this was successful. Okay? Very successful. And the purple dice, actually, because I rolled a 6, it means a lot, and I'll explain that next. So please tell me if this is making sense. I'm trying to make it very simple. You're rolling 6 dice, or 5 dice. These 2 beat my agility, which means I evaded the attack, which I'll detail that now. And then the strength, or I didn't evade it, I failed it. So if the monster does, I don't have that one card. If the monster does 4 points of damage, the Wastelander would have just taken 4 points of damage. Right there. Bam. And the Wastelander did 6 points of damage, which is pretty good. And I'll explain how that 6 came into play. The power dice. So in this game, it has a really weird mechanic where you want to roll low, right? But you want one of the dice to be high. Because that high dice is what's doing a lot of things in the agility and in the fighting, in the defense and in the offense. So, let me give you an example. Let's say my agility roll here, I rolled that. 6. The Wastelander's agility is a 7. AG up the top. So that means it's a successful agility roll. When that happens, the character absorbs 5 points of damage from every single monster attacking them. So if there's 4 monsters attacking you, and you roll below your number, which means you did well, the highest dice number is what you absorb. So she would take 5 from this guy, 5 from this guy, 5 from this guy. She's able to absorb them without getting hurt. Let's say this guy here, though, does 8 points of damage. Well, then that means she was successful, but still took 3 points of damage, which makes it kind of realistic. It's not perfect. It's not a perfect system, meaning you can fight these guys up, but some of them are going to get blows through because it's not perfect. I mean, you can't fight 5 guys. But the higher dice means it's good. So you want a low number with 1 dice being high. Here's the cool part, and the reason why the power dice means something is the power dice saves you when you fail a little bit. But it also can be substituted. For instance, here, this was successful. I rolled below my strength. I hit the target. But I didn't do any... Look, I did 2 points of damage. Wow, that sucks. But because I chose assault mode, I get to use that power dice. And now I did 6 points of damage. I used that instead. Okay? If I would have been in defense mode and done this, it would mean, yeah, I could take 5 points off of each person attacking me, or I could take 6. Okay? All right, so again, you roll low, and the highest dice number on each end, the offense and the defense, is applied to the result, meaning I sucked up this many damage points from the monster, I did this many damage points from the monster, and the purple dice you can use if you need it, if it's a higher one. Now, let's say you fail. Okay? Let's go back over here. Let's say over here on the defense, let's say I rolled a 5 and I rolled that. I rolled 10. That's a fail. If you roll a 10 and I have an agility of 7, this means you failed, which means you're getting all the damage. But because you picked guard mode, you can apply this to one of the monsters. Just one. Okay? It doesn't go to all of them. It goes to one of them. So, yeah, it is like craps. Now, over here, if you miss the target, you miss the target. Okay? But over here, so does that make sense? So it's really important which one you pick. Because if you're fighting a bunch of monsters that are above your pay grade, you better be in defense mode. And you also better be getting ready to leave the combat. You can do that in this game. You can try to run away, which you have to do sometimes. I mean, you can show up to an area that seems like it's a little bit sketchy. It's like it's considered dangerous. And like that, the worst things happen. So for instance, some of the monsters, and I wanted to show you, oh no. See, this is what happens when you have props everywhere. What the heck? I had a bunch of monsters I wanted to show you that I separated out, but I can't find them. They're here somewhere. If you could only see what this looks like. There's a lot of stuff here. Where the heck are those monsters? Well, anywho, I wanted to show... Oh, here they are. So here, I wanted to show you. I don't want to show too many of these things because... let me see. Can you see this? This is a monster. Drain and slime. It's a scroggling swarm. It's a frog swarm, basically. All right, I want to show you an epic monster. Okay? Epic monsters are the big boys that show up once in a while. Look at this one. Bilezobug. This is a demon. He's got rally and command. He does 7 damage, 2 armor, and has 14 points of health. The armor, all it is anytime you hit him, if he's got 2 armor, he absorbs 2 points. Okay? Now here's the problem with this guy. You look at this and you go, all right, he ain't that bad. He's got 14 wounds. All right, so if there's a few of us, we can take him out. 7 damage is pretty bad. 2 hits and you're dead. But he's got rally and summon 2. See the 2 red boxes down there? Rally is what he shows up with. Oh, she, right. Yes, she. This is a female. Yeah, I love it. And very Bosch. That's a good compliment. Yeah, I think Sean's a fan. And summon 2 is 2 little dots and rally a dot. So here's what that means, and this is why that's bad. It's bad because when this monster shows up, it's got buddies with him. Really, there's like, it comes with more than one monster. And then, if that monster isn't killed in one turn, which probably won't be, more monsters show up, and in this condition, 2 more. And this one here has 2 more. So that thing there is a giant scary monster plus 3 more. And that's just that right there. Not easy to fight. You need some heavy hitters. So, I mean, the variety of monsters in this game will make your jaw hit the floor. And every time, and this is a pro tip, every time I get new monsters, because when they add to the game, they're adding more gear, more characters, and more monsters for the areas, and more events, and that's all it's needed. Just those together puzzle together to create new things, right? And yeah, I gotta hold on. Just want to make sure I didn't forget something here. Okay. So let me know if this makes sense so far with the dice. It's 5 dice. That's it. This is what you're doing in the game. And when you're fighting in combat, the fun part is this. The monsters show up. You reveal them one at a time, and you go, oh, this one's attacking him. Oh, this one's going after you. This monster? Well, it'll say, like, I don't know, highest perception, and 2 people playing have the same. So that means you get to pick who he goes to. So that's a little bit of a strategy part. You got to figure out who's taking what. You got to figure out who's got what weapons. You got to kind of quickly do some figuring out on that end. And then once you're in the combat, if somebody takes out another monster and you're dealing with a few, they can come help. Yes, they can. There's a way for people to help when monsters are fighting you. I love the combat in this game. It's exciting. It's fun. It one swoof of a roll, and you have a whole bunch of stuff going on. Oh, here we go. Somebody in here is named Doug, and I want to talk about this for a second because we still have a little bit to go here. Doug says he might get the highest pledge. I think the highest pledge right now, Sean, if I'm not mistaken, is $1,000, and you get everything known to man that has something to do with this game. Am I correct? It sounds like a lot of money, but it really is for a board game nerd that appreciates this stuff worth the money, because not only that, you're going to be getting the metal miniatures, which literally have nothing to do with this game other than flavor and fluff. And I'm a fluff gamer, so, and if you like minis, and if JC Faircloud's watching, I love these minis because they're old school. They're not going for realism. I'm sick of this realistic miniature look. I mean, they're cool. I got a Night of the Living Dead game where the actual miniatures look like the people in the movie. It's great, and then they're fun to paint, but for art purposes, this destroys them. You have Sean Auberg's amazing art, and then J.C. Faircloud's interpretation of that art, and I believe it or not, I mean, J.C. had to figure out the backs of some of these monsters, right? 838. There it is. God, I'm just trying to imagine what that would feel like, having that show up to your house. That's crazier than the aircraft carrier for G.I. Joe. Way crazier. How heavy would that be? I wish I was, like, unlimitedly rich just to order one of those and just store it away. Like a Library of Congress style. Yeah, like the minis and everything, like in perfect. Now, I bought a backup of this. I think the second edition. I think I have the second edition. It's sealed. I have it. I did that in case you know what's funny? I think in the first, Sean, was it free to get your name in the original rulebook or not? Because I'm not in there, and I was on the Kickstarter. It might have been a mistake. But then I was like, no, maybe it was like a $20 thing, which makes sense. And I might have forgot to do it. So maybe I'll do it in this one. She can transform my drawings perfectly. So, oh! JC Faircloud. Bam. So the sculptor of these awesome miniatures is in the house tonight, too. So please, people, you can say hi here. It's awesome. It's an honor to have both of you in here. I mean, I've been gaming my whole life, and this kind of hit my sweet tooth. I mean, you're sculpting as you. So, yeah, you're a degenerate yourself. Well, I mean, that's why we're all here. Okay, so let's keep moving. I have a lot to go through here before I get to some. All right, the map. All right, this is the part that's a little tricky too. The criticism of this game were that it's fiddly. Yeah, it's fiddly, but I like fiddly. I mean, that's why I play games. I'm into fiddling with things. 2, the map is hard to read. Well, okay. And I remember one reviewer was like, "Oh, it went for art instead of function," and I'm like, "Okay, great. Like, I mean, the functionality of it works. You just have to learn how to do it. There's a learning process. It's not, it's not an automatic. It took me a second. And, I'll mention this quick. Please go to Board Game Geek. It's a great forum for this game. It's a great forum for all games. I don't know who started that thing, but it's genius. I love it. Board Game Geek is forums and player aids, and there's a map of this map that helps you figure out certain things. Now, let's look at this glorious map. Oh my, folks. Okay, so right now, I have it set up for an early game. I don't know, for the players here, I lost some cities. I lost the Hunt Lodge. It went from green to red, which is horrible. I wanted this down here. Civilizations, like where people are in towns where you can buy stuff. Here, Brutalberg. Way up here in the wastelands, that's a 1. That's bad. Bad. Somebody has to go up here and deal with this. Here's a 2. This one here I lost already. Vids of gameplay. I don't, but I want to do one. It's just, I have to set this up a little differently to do that. This game's a little hard to do in a video format because of the way, it's not like you move around the pieces on this thing in a normal way. It makes you want a black light. So here's the thing. If you look here, there are these weird road-looking things, right? And there's a river, and there's a river, and there's roads. Well, okay. So one of the things you need to know is some of these are roads, and some of them are paths. And the roads have a weird little purple line. Purple, purple, purple. No purple. This is swampland. Up here, there's purple, 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 but none of this is good. Here's a little, this is an actual road, which is hilarious. Up here, this is some crazy stuff up here. So, you need to learn how to look at this. Like, look, this isn't purple, these are paths, but this is an actual road that goes through the forest. Okay? There is some good gameplay on here, online. There's definitely gameplay. So, once you learn this map, yeah. One of the questions I always had, and now that I have Sean in here, I don't know if you can answer this. It says adjacent space. You can move from one space to an adjacent space. So if you're here and you want to go to here, the adjacent space isn't here. It's the path. It's the path here and then here. So you go here. Well, let's do this one here. Let's do, which one's easier to see? Let's do here. From here, if you want to go from here to here, this bridge, there's a bridge here, and there's Brutalberg, the main city. There's a road. Look, it goes doo-doo-doo-doo. There's a little road. So if you want to go here to here, you have to stop at this road first, and then you can go here. If you want to go through all the way quick, you can do that. There's a way to do that. My question is, can you go from this path to the Rotten Swamp and then to this path? My first time playing this game, I was playing it like that. Where, yes, these were adjacent spaces, but you had to go through the swamp to do it. And then I read somewhere not to do that. It's a house rule thing. Like, some of these spaces you could say are adjacent. But you have to go through, like, the middle of it, which is unexplored. Okay, so that's the basic thing of how this map works. And now, I wanted to, so yeah, so there are these areas. Oh, I know what I wanted to show you. Okay, I almost forgot this. What the heck are these numbers? The higher the red number, the more dangerous the area. This is a 5. It's getting to be pretty bad. These up here are 6s. These are terrible. They're very dangerous spots. This is a 2. Not so bad. The green areas, the higher the number. Yeah, you see my idea, Sean? There's a way to move from, there's some other ways to get around, but the way I would house rule it is if you're going to go from this river or from, let's say here to here, you have to go through this woods. You could go from this path to this path, but you definitely have to go boop, 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 slowly. These, like here, this is a 6. This has to get it taken care of. I have to go up here and lower this number. This game has a feeling of, and this is something I wanted to mention, and I'll do it right now. If you play this game as a one-off, not as a campaign that's ongoing, you won't get to appreciate these numbers as much. Because as the campaign goes on and on and on and on, every turn, one of these numbers is going up. Up, up, all over the map. It's a little bit like Pandemic, except over a very long period of time. And so you got to keep your eye on those numbers, because when they get too high, the Hand of Doom will show up. And that is the main overlying theme of the game, is the Hand of Doom, the evil wizard controlling the Hand of Doom, or the gods above, damning the earth. When you get a number that has a 6 on it, which there's a whole bunch down here, and somebody else, and you draw a card that makes that number go to a 7, it doesn't go to a 7. The Hand of Doom shows up on the map. So, thank you, sis. My sister's watching. What's up? My mom is not watching tonight because it's a game show on board games. And so that's what those numbers are. The town numbers, the higher they are, the more lively they are. They're prosperous. They have lots of things to buy. There's things going on. They're safer, right? As they get sour, that number starts to go down. 6, 5, 4, 3. It's still a green number. 2, green. 1, green. If it gets to a green 1 and you get the card to make it go up again, it actually turns to a red 1, then a red 2, then a red 3, then a red 4, then a red 5. Finally, it hits that red 6, and then it goes really bad and the hand shows up. That's how this map works, and that's the mechanic of the map. Okay, now, I'm going to talk about now really quickly the map phase, what you get to pick and what happens. Then the danger phase, and then the encounter phase, which we kind of did that first. The encounter phase is the fighting. And then we're going to get into the some of my tips, okay? So quickly, the map phase is the very first thing you pick in the game. And you're like, it means, are we moving or are we sticking around here? That's all it means. Are we going somewhere or are we hunkering down, healing wounds, learning skills? Both of those involve fighting monsters. I'll be straight up, okay? But, so let's just say in this phase, you get to pick bold or cautious. In fighting, when you're fighting, you get to pick assault or guard. In the map phase, you pick bold or cautious. Are you walking down the road and going shopping in town? Or are you literally sneaking through the woods so you don't get killed? Or are you in town with a disguise laying low? You know, you got to pick this because that dictates what's going to happen. And it also dictates what you're able to do. So first you pick map stance. Let's say you're going to stay put. You're not going anywhere. You're going to stay in an area that's not a city. Let's say it's a low number. Like, let's just say, for instance, your characters are going to party down. Let's say they are on this path. This path right here, you use the number. We'll put the fugitive fop and the river pirate chick right here because she's by the river. This path right here doesn't have a number. But, oh, yes, it does. It's the area. So this here, wait, where are we here? Let me put you over. Let's do here. Let's do in this Witch Hill area. So this area here, if you're on these paths, this is the Witchwood. And the Witchwood is a 2 right now. This is what I wanted you to see. The Witchwood, which represents the woods here, is a 2. So this path is a 2. So I'm going to rest in a 2 area. When you rest, and I'm going to get out the cards now, the game actually comes with 2 aid cards. 2, like, cards that go through the turns and stuff. And they're good. When you rest, you can recover, meaning get your wounds back. Okay? You can explore the area, which means you can travel faster next time. You can improve a skill, paying it with your experience. You can invest if you're in a city. If you're in a real town that's a green number, meaning it's prosperous, like people are around, you can invest and make it safer and better. You can spend gold. And then you can trade. You can trade gear with your friends, or if you're in a town, you can trade at the market. There'll be things that you can buy with your gold. And when you're resting, that's what you get. Now, the town I'm in here now ain't a town. I'm in the Witchwood. I'm camping. I'm setting up camp. I'm resting and healing my wounds, and that's what I'm going to do. I might learn a skill. I don't know what I'm going to do, right? Whatever it may be. That's the map phase. If you're going to travel, that's also the map phase. You go, we're going to move. So, let's go back here. Let's say they're at the bridge. And they're like, we've had it at the bridge. We want to go to Witch Hill, which is a 5. But to get to Witch Hill, they got to go through the Witch Wood. This is a road. Actually, yeah, this is a road, not a path. So it's an actual road. If it's a real road, you can move quickly through it. It's a force march. You're moving quick. You're like, let's go. But you got to roll to see if you get tired. You might poop out and have to heal a bit. If you're on a river spot, you can take the river down if you spend some money. If you got her with you, she goes for free, I believe. Is it free or cheap? It's cheaper. It's like one cheaper. And if you're on a lake spot, you can. Well, you can't even see the lake spot here. There is a lake all the way down here. Look. I can't believe I didn't show you this. If you're here at the lake, you can go around the different lake spots. But for now, you can move here. And that's the movement part. That's how you move. You just say, hey, I want to move through. We're going from one spot to another. Now, if it's not a road, it's a path. You can't do that. You have to stop at the path unless you've explored it already. If it's unexplored, you just can't jump through that and march move. It means you don't know where the heck you're going. You're figuring it out. If you've already explored it, you can try to march move. Does that make sense? It's it. It's so simple. You pick if you're going to be, bold or cautious, and then you're like, am I hanging out or am I moving? That's literally it. Now, that's the map phase. The next thing you do is one of the most brilliant little mechanics I've seen in a game in a long time. The cards for this sequence are these tiny little cards called, and I have a rubber band around these, they're called danger cards. Okay? And danger cards, let me make sure here which one's face up. Oh yeah, this is the face up one. I'm going to show you what they look like. This says Hunt Lodge 4. Actually, here. Let's take that off. I don't want to... the card underneath it, I don't want to know what it is because I'm in a game still. That's probably... is that the last... Yeah, that's the last card I drew. Hunt Lodge 4. This is the card that made my Hunt Lodge turn to a red. And if you look at the bottom, there's some little numbers and things. What this card does... When you draw every turn a danger card, it tells you, first of all, what area of the world is getting dangerous. And for this one, it's the Hunt Lodge. It also gives you this number, 4. This one has a noose. The noose represents the law. If you're in an area where the police are involved, that would mean something. But let me see something. Yeah, there's no law here. But it's a 4. Now, what that means, that 4, it's kind of a neat mechanic. If the number is high, bye. If the number on here is higher than the number that you're on, bye-bye. You don't have to fight anything. You don't have to do anything. You're safe. If the number is low... you're dealing, if it's the number the same or lower, you're fighting something, and you're fighting whatever it says here. Now I have 2 people on that space. This says I'm fighting 4 monsters if it goes through. Now the space I'm in right now is the Witchwood if I'm in the path, and that's a 2, and this is a 4. So bye. I don't have to fight. But let's just say I'm not in this path in between this space and this Witchwood area, or this Witch Hill. Let's say I went from the bridge, I force marched, and I went all the way to Witch Hill. Witch Hill, if you look, is a 5. My card is a 4. It's lower than theirs, so it's not a bye-bye. It means I am fighting a monster there. And I'm fighting 4 monsters according to the bottom of the card. Also on these cards, there's a tiny, and you're not going to be, they're so small, it's hard to see. There's a little icon that says if there's an encounter. Meaning if there's literally like an encounter. And the encounter deck is out of control. There are so many different encounters, ones I've never seen before. So every time I go to a new encounter, it's like kind of fun to see what's going to happen. So if you think about it, it's easier to remember. If the area that you're in is got a high number, and the card's also high, and they activate each other, it probably means you're fighting some really bad, scary monsters. If the card is really high and you're in an area that's got a low number, you're not fighting anything. Okay? That's the easiest way to remember this. But one card does all of that. It tells you what's going up, how dangerous or bad, if you're fighting monsters, and if there's an event. It literally dictates, it's the engine of the game. I'm leaving out lots of things here, folks. Like, for instance, what happens when that hand shows up. If you trigger the Hand of Doom. I'm not getting to that. Something happens. I'm also not going to go through all what it's like when you do an encounter. So let's just say there was an encounter. You fight the monsters, and then you see what you do the encounter. First, you read the encounter and see if it happens immediately. You could discover a lake that you can make a wish in. You could find a witch selling food. You could find, you don't know. It's endless. And the cities also have encounters, which was added as an expansion. So you go from the map phase, figuring out what you're doing. Are we moving? Are we staying? Then you turn over a new card and you go, okay, do we have to deal with anything this turn? If you're trying to rest and heal, hopefully you don't. And then you have that encounter. That's the encounter phase. One little note, if you are in bold stance and you don't get to fight a monster and you want to, you can go hunting for them. It's a thing that you can do. And if you have to fight a monster and you're in stealth mode, there's something you can do to kind of sneak off. I'm not going to get into that. All right, eat, Goblinko Sean. I know it's late over there. It's early or late there. It's like dinner time, I know. Please, thank you for stopping in tonight, Sean. I think you're going to get some pledges out of this, which, great. Again, he ain't paying me, and I'm glad to do this. This is so much fun for me. I like this game so much that I like sharing it with people because I think they're also going to get a lot out of it. Thank you. You know what? Let's do it. Let's take a 2-second break. Let's do a giveaway. Everybody, right now, if you'd like to be part of this giveaway, what you got to do, so pay attention. I hope you're listening. In the bottom, underneath, right now in the chat, write the words or the number. Write the number 5 because this is the 5th edition coming out. So put 5 below, and you're in the contest right now. And however many people write, there's 23 live viewers right now. I might have to get out a D20. We'll see what dice I need to roll. So go ahead, number 5 below. And then I'll scroll back and do the roll. You're going to be getting a little package with some cool Goblinko stuff. There we go. Here we go. Do it up. Do it up. Write it in there. Come on in. All right. So let's get into some of the fluff. You got miniatures, and then you have, look at this. And I love it. These are the lore books. These have background stories of everything in this game. And so my advice when you're playing this game, if you want it to be a role-playing game experience, you gotta know some of the lore. And the lore is crazy. So my lifetime of bad luck will finally turn around. Let's see. And so when I'm playing this game, I act as a dungeon master, but not everybody. You don't have to do it like that. You can be like, here, you read this. It gives you the background of what kind of the characters are in this game. It gives you their backstories, and there's Easter eggs. There's an Easter egg in this game that makes me tickled every time I read it. I won't give you too much. I don't want to spoil the surprises. I will say the Emperor of Brutalberg was the Jester, and as kind of a fluke, became the Emperor. Right? It's kind of a cool little premise that the Emperor is the guy who was the Jester. All right, here we got a bunch. Keep them coming. I'm going to do a couple. I'll wait a couple more seconds. So you've got lore books. You've got Diversed, which is his fanzine that supports this game too. In the lore books, there are more missions, and they're good. This is all added fluff to add to the game experience. It's not necessary at all. Just like the metal miniatures. My God, these metal miniatures. I don't know if JC's still watching here. I'm going to put this back out. Oh, I made dice trays. If you watch the beginning of this video, I made a massive dice tray that's over here. You can kind of see it. That has places to put the monster cards and the little chips. It has like it's made for literally dungeon degenerates. I make these. Anybody ever wants one? Go to my Boardgasm page on Instagram. Also, if you follow my Instagram page, Boardgasm and Cardone Magic, I have a lot of game fluff. So check it out. So to me, making these things is part of the experience. But I really wanted to do this. I want to show you. How did I do this before? Oh yeah, like this. I wanted to put out some of these miniatures for you to see. Because my God, yeah, here. Like, here's the Banished Sorcerer. Oh, it's not in focus. Hold on. What the heck? Hold on. Hold on. There he is. That's the Banished Sorcerer. Here's some of the monsters. Look at this little guy. How about the Hermit Aesthetic? Smoking a pipe. Look at the back of this one. Look at this guy's like dreadlocks. I mean, God, this is... Oh, you have them all. I've painted every single miniature except for one. I always keep one ready. And then when I get the new ones, I'm sure they're going to do new ones. Look at this creature. This is an amazing sculpt. Here's the Slime Lord. This is an epic bad guy. It's literally a blob monster. Here's another monster. This is from the wetlands. Scroggling. Here is my fishy confectioner. She is fantastic with her. She's got she's got her Scrog Eye Jello. And then you've got a doggy. So they made all the characters, and they made a bunch of the monsters. I mean, I literally painted every single one of them. Look at the pirate. She is awesome. I love that they made the pirate a chick. Look at her. It's so great. Look. I did put a lot of them in jeans. I don't know why. And then Fugitive Fop. Look at this guy. I mean, his butt's showing. Dude, I'm telling you, I don't know where to begin with these minis. I've been painting minis my whole life. I've had more fun painting these than all of them. They in my desk, they're like displayed right, and so I can grab them for these games. So honestly, I know in the new Kickstarter, Sean's doing another box to help store all of your stuff. Looks like a tray of caviar, which opens. I love it. A lot of these minis would work great for Forbidden Psalm. Oh, okay. The Fugitive Fop I'm playing right now. I named mine Pharaoh Fawcett. Pharaoh is cool. He's a rich kid. He comes with a bunch of money. He comes with a raccoon. He comes with a knife that's also a gun in one unit. There's gunpowder in this game. That's why it's a little bit like Warhammer. The Fugitive Fop also he's a dilettante. And he's also able to learn skills that he's not able to learn because he could take a class in it or something. I love it. Oh, yeah. You got it, Sean. Thank you, Sean M. I mean, it's a complex game because of the amount of things that can happen. But really, when you get here, I wanted to explain what it feels like when you're really in it in a second. Card holders. Please put card holders, sleeves on. Card sleeves. If you spill a drink on the cards and ruin them, it's bad. Oh, the fop. Yeah, the fugitive fop is his hair, the whole thing. Oh, he comes with perfume. Dude, I'm telling you, this game is outrageously awesome and creative. The game support for this is good. There's a cool fan base for this game. It's still underground, meaning a lot of people don't know about it. So the community is really tight, and we're always sharing info together. And all right, so here's one of the house rules I have and why I like this game. And I really wanted to get into this because when you're playing this game, let's say you're playing it alone. I think, Fallon, were you interested in playing it alone? I think you even mentioned like you wanted to try it solo too. I recommend running 2 characters. If you're doing it alone, run 2 characters. It plays better because a lot of the monsters are, I don't know. I just think 2 is a little more interesting. If you have a friend come over for the night, you can in 2 seconds get them a character ready to go, give it a name, and then they play for the evening. When they're done, you just remember where they are. And they live or they're camping in that area. Or they're in the main town. And then they stay there. And if they come visit you a week later, or 2 weeks later, a month later, they're in that town. You might be in another town by that point. And so, yes, you can run turns with people in different towns. Or you can eventually meet up and take care of some business. And that's why this game, see, Doug plays solo. I played solo for like 6 months. I didn't want anybody to mess my game up. I got kind of like, this is my story. I don't want it to get messed up. I eventually opened it up. But the idea of letting your friends jump in and out whenever they want in this world, that's open world. An example of why this is amazing is there are missions. The first mission of the game is to bust out of jail. So the first thing you do is take a turn fighting the jailer without any of your equipment. And if you beat him, he gives you, there's options. It actually starts with the jailer asking you to do a mission for him. Hey, would you take this thing to somewhere? I'll pay you. I'm going to let you sneak out of jail if you do me this dirty favor. You can do that, or you can kill the guy right there. You can do whatever you want. It's up to you. So, I see. Solo play, but your wife might play for the aesthetic value. Well, believe it or not, Mr. Van, if you learn the rules really well, like you actually know what's going on and there's no pausing and you're quick, your wife's going to love playing this game. Yeah, I think she will. It's not hard to understand once you're learning it. You're able to have your friends jump in and out and this world exists. Now, here's how it works. Let's say the jailer gives you a mission and you take it, right? You can leave, you can lie. You can be like, great, I'm going to do this, and then not do it. It's like real life. You can do whatever you want. One of the missions is you're sold into slavery. That you can start with this one. I think it's in one of the lore books. You're sold into slavery and sent to be a slave for the Scroglin King. One of them's you're on a slave wagon going into the Goblin Kingdom. I mean, you can start with that, and you have to bust out. At any rate, I remember one time we were hired by one of the bosses, one of the monster bosses, to take care and to assassinate somebody. So we went and did the assassination, and then we went back and killed the boss. It was not easy, but we did. So you can do whatever you want. You can take side missions. You can take on new missions. You can turn one of the towns into a town that you personally, your gang runs. You can just run around and kill monsters. You can do whatever you want. If you do the missions and you fulfill them, it unlocks new missions and you might get access to certain things in the loot deck that you don't normally get. Oh, one note on the loot deck. My loot deck is about this thick. Some of the cards are out of the deck. This is so fun. You don't get to go through this deck that often. But when you do, there's weapons, there's rare weapons, there's one-of-a-kind kind of... Everything's one-of-a-kind in here. There's also diseases and thieves that show up in the loot deck. So it's not, like, always great. Okay, hold on. I'm keeping moving here. Let's do a dice roll. Let's see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think there's 9. I am going to roll a D10. And I'm going to do it live so you can watch. And I'll do it in this dice tray. Let's do it here. Let's see who wins right now. Hi, I'm going to roll this D10. It's a percentile, but let's see. 9. Wow, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Doug just won. Doug Sesams. Sesams or Sesams? Where's the stress on that? Doug, you're number 9. Actually, there's 11 there. Well, if I would have rolled a 10, I would have re-rolled. So, Doug, you win. If I would have rolled a 10, I would have been like, oh, this is 11. But I rolled a 9. So, 9, Doug, you won. Bam. Doug, this is what I need you to do. I need you to go to my Instagram, and I need you to put in there your address and your name, and I will send it to you. That's great. You got a cool little package. All right. Go, Doug. All right, next, let's do it again. This time, let's do, just for fun, let's put the number for Emperor Nero in the chat. And this is for the second prize tonight. Let's write 666. 666 in the chat below will get you in for prize 2. I don't know if people know that, but 666 literally means the name Nero. It's not a joke. Look it up. In the Bible, in the Revelations, let him who hath understanding reckon the number of the beast, for it is a number of a man. His number is 666. Some translations say 616, which is weird. Some say 666, some say 616. If you do this thing that they used to do when the book was written, where they take numbers and make letters and write their names on walls with these weird number combinations, 666 spells Nero, 616 spells Neron. Neron was also the Greek name for Nero. So both of them spell Nero. That's very weird that both of them spell the names he was called. All right, here we go. 666 literally means Emperor Nero. It's so weird. You'd think the news people would do a story on that. Like, literally, that's a cool major, the dumb major news networks. It's kind of a fun story. It's like they figured out what 666 means, and it's not. It's Nero. Let him who hath understanding means, all right, whoever's going to get this little secret thing I'm about to say. Oh, wow, I love it. All right, let's see. How many do we have in here for 666? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I don't have any D15s available. So I'll just roll a D20. I have D15s, but I'm going to roll a D20, and if I get above the 13, I will re-roll. Let me move the camera. Hand camera. 4. Uh-oh, who's 4? 1, 2, 3. Fallon! 1, 2, 3, 4. Fallon. There you go. Fallon, you've won a prize a few times, maybe. Wow. Lucky Fallon. Fallon, send me your address. I know I have your address, but please send it to me. It's something cool. This is, yeah, you're going to like this stuff. Give me a send. Yeah. I love this. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love giving away some of these things because Sean gave me some stuff to give away at Gen Con 3 years ago. He gave me a bunch of stickers and stuff and postcards. And then not long ago, he mailed me some stuff to give. He, throughout the times, he's given me stuff. Again, I don't work for him. We just made friends, and He knows I'm a fan of the game, and I don't mind doing this at all. It's quite fun, quite frankly. All right, we're at the 9:30 mark. I'm just trying to think here if I've missed anything or if anybody's had any questions. But honestly, this game is mind-blowing. You really have a feeling of this, like, Dungeons and Dragons-y role-playing game thing without a grid board. There's no grid. When you're playing, the board doesn't even need to be right there. The board's actually, like, you can put it off to the side. That's only important when it's moving time and number time. Most of the time, it's the monster cards and dice, and you're just looking at the cards and rolling. It doesn't have anything to do with how you're positioned on the map, the fighting. It's not like Kingdom Death, where it's a grid map for combat, and it's really detailed. This has got detail, but it's not done that way. And so when you're playing it, because it's not a board with, like, that going on, it starts to pull back and become about this, which means you're not huddled over the board. You're talking to your friends. That's, to me, what it's not about this grid thing. I mean, the board's important, the cards are important, but it really does feel, yeah, you can't leave the boards out. Oh, I was going to mention that. I'm so glad you mentioned this. So, how do you play this? I remember at one point I was asking Sean if he was going to do some sort of magnet thing, and again, it would have driven the cost up, and which I get. So, if you want to magnetize these little pieces so they don't move around, that would be great. That's not hard to do, by the way. But another way to deal with the map is to do a printout version, which you can do. I'll show you what it looks like. It looks like this. It comes... Oh, no, it's on the... I think this is on Board Game Geek. Somebody made these. It's literally the map with all the little boxes and stats. You can use that, too. But how I recommend playing it is, you set it up, and then you write down on a piece of paper. It comes with the chart. The chart in the game, there's the character sheets, and then there's this. This is what you use in between games to keep track of what's what. And you can put it away. All right, so here's how I recommend it. And this is my pro tip of the night. You need a box to put the little chippity chips. Like a little plastic doodad box that you get at Staples or one of those Michael's craft stores. And then all the numbers that you're using on the board, you're going to write down on that sheet, right? Then you can dump all of these off and put them all in one lump together. So when it's playtime, you dump them out, you get the chart, and you just kind of go, okay, here's Brulberg's 3, and you just put them out. That's it. Doesn't take that long. If you can store the board out, I recommend doing it. Mine was out on display without ever putting it away for a solid 5 years. It had dust on it, right? This one here, I don't leave it right here. I pick it up and I have a place I've been storing it. I've been playing it a lot recently, so I recommend storage boxes for the little chips, the chits. And I recommend leaving it out if you can, and if you can't, dude, you just write it down. It's not that hard. I'm telling you, this game is worth the extra effort. It looks fiddly. It is fiddly. That's the fun part, is fiddling and figuring out what's going on with the little fiddles. But the narrative story that grows out of it is priceless, and you won't regret it. And if you like minis, my God, buy them. Folks, I have no more air to breathe. I've been talking for an hour and a half without stopping, and it's time to drink water. Whew! Thank you, everybody, for coming in here. Doug and Fallon, Bits and Chits. Bill, you remember all those games they used to sell, those strategy games with paper and chits, the little chippity chips? Oh, yeah, there's a lot of choking hazards here. Folks, I hope this made sense, because this is a meaty game. There's meat. You got the world. You got the Hand of Doom trying to influence the world. Meanwhile, you're trying to do these missions. There's layers to it. in its simplicity, it's really an open world. Thank you, Billion. We had a nice group in here tonight. We had about 30 people in here solid for a while, which is great. This channel's growing. If you're new, please hit the like and subscribe. Please. It helps me a lot. We're all shadow banned. If you're not a corporate company, they don't care about you anymore. They're like, please go away. They're making too much money off the ads. We are peanuts to them. So, you know, that whole thing makes it easier. And the donations, sure, great. I get a lot of donations after the fact, so whoever does it, thank you. Fallon, thank you. You gave one after the fact. I didn't notice. Thank you. Yeah, party on, everybody. Board gaming got really popular during the pandemic, and I'm so glad because I'm trying to get away from screens. I covered my TV. I barely watch it. I do watch it occasionally, but I honestly... Oh, thank you, Sean. It's easy to be enthusiastic about this. I'm glad people are stepping away from those screens, pulling off of the socials, turn off the TV, stop watching the news. It's not real anymore. None of it is. The only thing real is what's in front of you at this point, okay? Anything coming in digital, even me right now, you should be a little aware of. So what do? Start reading books, start playing board games, start hanging out with your friends. I noticed something the other day. In the old days, you were forced to meditate with your own thoughts. For instance, if you had to take a bus somewhere, you had to sit and think about your life. You didn't have things in your ears playing music, and you weren't getting your sensory inputs filled with somebody else's thoughts and ideas, like a podcast or a TV show or anything for that matter. You were forced to drive in a car and you know, you could listen to the radio, but how many times where you had to walk somewhere where you just had to think with your own thoughts, or, you know, when you're in the shower or anywhere, you're just left with your own thoughts, and no one does that anymore. And when you start watching TV and you start playing board games and getting away from digital media, you realize, yeah, try go to the bathroom without your phone. I know people have, that's dopamine addiction. If you can't leave your phone, people are constantly, I mean, I'm checking to see if certain work things are happening. This is why I try to limit my online time. I'm trying to constantly. So board games really are a thing. There's no phones. I have like a no phone rule when I'm playing board games, unless we're using it to look up a rule. But other than that, get them out. No screens, no phones. Just you and your friends, you and your thoughts. Keep rolling dice. Thank you, everybody. Guilty. Me too. I'm guilty too. Guilty. Me too. I'm working on it. I'm getting better at it. I've tied my work into it, which is why it's kind of hard. See? You get it. If you're a welder, you're alone with your thoughts. Yeah, you're doing your task. That's it, right? Yeah, it's cool. Toilet phone time is my jam. So you know what I do on the toilet with my phone? I use it as the time to make my phone expel too. I use it as the time I get rid of my photos I don't need, because I have lots. And I go in there and I scrub. Wow. Phone is away when I... Yeah. It's true. I love it. Thank you, everybody. Hey, JC Faircloud, thank you for stopping in here, too. JC's the miniature sculptor for this crazy game. So, thank you. And Sean I think he's eating. Thank you, Sean and family. You guys do great work. All right, I'm out. I'm going to take us out with the news. No. I don't have an outro for Boardgasm, so I'm just going to play the Boardgasm trailer. Party on, Wayne. Hey, what's up? If you like board games, miniatures, and the smell of paint and glue, you are in the right place. Welcome to Boardgasm.